Hey, what's up, everybody? When in doubt, zoom out. The 3 month candle, the quarterly candle, right? Not just any candle. This is the quarterly candle. It ends in less than, by the time you watch this video, in less than 4 hours. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the following quarterly candle reacts, right? So we have the 3 month candle engulfing, breaking out of this previous all-time high. So we're going to get a 3 month candle breakout and closing above. We also have a monthly candle. Remember, the monthly candle last month did not break out into a new all-time high. So this is going to be very, very interesting. We're getting, guys, we're getting a daily candle close today. No big deal. We get them every day. We're getting a weekly candle close today, which is pretty big deal. And then we're getting a monthly candle close today, which is a big deal. And then we're also getting a 3 month candle close today, which is also a big deal. So we'll see what happens on that front. Maybe something, maybe nothing, right? I mean, obviously, sometimes it can have an immediate reaction. Sometimes it could take up to a couple of weeks for it to really start to, react. But I would think that this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday should be pretty interesting, nonetheless. That this is on the higher time frames, the monthly and the 3 month. Now, when we zoom in closer than that, but before I do that, just to reiterate, we have a bullish monthly engulfing candle that is about to close above, basically at a new all-time high. So the close, not the specific all-time high, but the close of this monthly candle, wherever it closes. I'm thinking above 70, 71K. The previous was back over here on this candle, which was about 61K. So this is a $10,000 increase on the close for the monthly candle. That's important. So let's look at the weekly candle, shall we? And we'll get to some altcoins I want to talk about here. We also have the weekly candle is going to be a new weekly all-time high close, right? So here was the all-time high weekly close back in the last cycle. Here, the previous all-time high weekly close was back in the first week of March. And now we're at the last week of March and the last day of March, right? So this weekly candle is going to close above and have basically a new weekly all-time high close. So it'll be interesting to see how this reacts, right? Now, going back to the monthly candle real quick, oftentimes when you get, let me put this down here. I'm going to put this line on the close. Oftentimes when you have a big monthly close or a weekly, a lot of times the following candle likes to retest 50% of the breakout candle. So keep that in mind, right? There's a common misconception when you get a close, people think, okay, now it's got to go to the moon instantly. No, that's not the case. Usually what happens is the reason why it's important is because, yes, eventually we will get to those higher levels. But oftentimes, the important part is getting the close, right? But then oftentimes it comes back 50% and retest. Sometimes it can come all the way back and retest the low, the low of the candle, which would be fine because then it would be back testing, right? So here's your resistance. You break out, you come back down, you back test, you wick off, you wick off that support level, which was previous resistance, and then you continue to rise. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, right? This is not financial advice. Anything I say is just, opinions based off my interpretation of how I see things. So, monthly candle, 3 month candle. This is the big picture. This is the long-term look of things, right? So it's not an immediate course of action right away. Now, what I would think here is, now let's zoom in further and we can, let's see, let's go down to the 3-day candle. Now the 3-day candle does look bullish, right? Actually, let me zoom in even closer. Let's go down to the 12-hour chart and we'll recap here. So the thing with Bitcoin is, right, I'll just reiterate on my stance on Bitcoin. So the idea here is that we come up into that final wave, right? And then we have an A, B, C, which means the correction is over. This is one idea, right? Back up here, I was talking about the idea of a flat. So we have an A, B, C. So we have a flat. It's actually a running flat. Usually flats can come all the way down and meet the bottom, or sometimes they can go even below and it'll be an expanded flat, right? So this is a running flat, which is actually sometimes more bullish. So if that's the case, right, if this is an A, B, C, then what we see here is potentially a 1, 2, right? And now we have another 1 and a 2, and we're flagging out for wave 2, and it looks like that flag is starting to break out here. We'll see. And here's another cool part. This 12-hour candle, if it closes where it is, it's going to be closing above all of these closes, which is important. Let's look at the daily candle, shall we? This is very exciting. Just because it's exciting doesn't mean it has to happen right away. This is exciting for future days and weeks to come. So we can also see this daily candle here potentially closing above. We want to close above on the daily above 70,800. So right now we're about 71,000 and ticking higher, which is good to see. So going back, let's zoom in even closer to the 8-hour chart. I'll continue with my idea. Stay tuned because I'm going to talk about XRP. Okay, so that was the first idea, right? Which is basically an A, B, C, right? That's a flat. So we have a 1, 2, and now we have a 1, and now we're flagging out for 2, which basically means we're getting ready to get going here, right? Maybe this is some kind of cup, right? And now we're, sort of flagging out for a handle over here. Sometimes the handles can be cups, or sometimes they can be, handles, right? More like, like a flagging out of sort, and then we continue higher. So that is the most bullish case scenario as far as time goes, right? So now we'll move on to the second idea. And basically, the second idea suggests something very similar, but we have a rise, a crash, a retrace, and now the thing is we're in the middle of the retracement levels. It's easy to figure out that we're topping. It's easy to figure out that we're, reversing, and that's, you can go back and look at the videos, and that's what was said, right? So now, if we're in the middle of point A and point B, we're right in the middle of the retracement levels, and that's very tricky to figure out because it can go either way. A lot of people take profits, a lot of people, add to their positions, right? So we can literally do this, go this way or this way. The reason, and you can say, well, that's great, that doesn't really help me out, up or down, right? But here's the thing, most channels would stop there. For me, I like to take it a step further and give you my opinion on what I see. So I offered the first idea. The second idea would be that this is a rise, this is a crash, this is a retracement. We're in the retracement level, right? We can either, and then following the retracement, we go into reaccumulation. So reaccumulation can happen at the top of the range. It can come back down a little bit and reaccumulate down here, right? But to me, it looks like we're consolidating above the range, which is very good, right? That's what we want. We want it to bullishly consolidate. Now, the price can easily, let me take everything off the screen. So come back down and go into reaccumulation. So rise, crash, retrace. We come down for reaccumulation. We go sideways, then we go. That's basically the idea number 2. Now, the reason why I'm not really leaning towards that at the moment is because look at what's happening. We have a rise, crash, retrace. It looks like we're in reaccumulation now. Why do I say that? Well, number one, like I said, we're consolidating at the top of the wave. So here's the wave from the bottom all the way to the top. We're consolidating at the top of the wave. But look at this. Can you see something interesting? Do you see any patterns developing? Well, to me, it looks like one of my favorite patterns, I must say, which is a ascending triangle. You can see we are starting to shape up into an ascending triangle. By the way, a descending triangle is bearish. An ascending triangle is bullish. Typically, ascending triangles break to the upside. I think it's what, 60, 70% or something like that. So there's always a chance it could break to the downside, but it'll be yet to be seen. So it looks to me like the price is starting to get back up here. We want to see it meet up with this resistance up here. And then sometimes we come back down and touch the belly, then we can go. And what that would be, my friends, is an Elliott wave triangle as well, because you would have an A, a B, a C, and now we have 1, 2, 3 up in D, and then we flag out for wave E, and then we go. So that to me looks pretty good, and that would constitute as a reaccumulation phase, right? So that would sort of line up with that first idea, which is sort of an A, B, C flat, and we have a 1, 2, 1, 2. We're flagging out up here. So they're both the same ideas, just looked at differently. Now, the last idea would be the most bearish idea according to time, not price, but time. Well, price too in the short term, but mostly time. So this is what that is. So it's basically very simple. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be an A. We have 1, 2, 3. So this would be a B. And then we come all the way back down into wave C, right? So I don't know how long or big that would be, but it would be something like that. And what I kind of like about this idea, because to me, whatever idea happens, perfect, right? If we break out, there's pros and cons to every route that the price takes. The con to this would be, yeah, it would suck because it would take another couple weeks, maybe. It would, but then it would also, remember what I said, that monthly candle. Oftentimes when you have a big monthly breakout candle, right, or even a 3-month candle, a lot of times the following candle likes to go all the way back down and retest 50% of that. So maybe, maybe not, right? But if this were to happen, A, B, C, then we can totally get that out of the way. But then the really cool part is, look what we have down here. This is our best friend. Bitcoin's best friend is the bull market support band. So we haven't tested it in a while. So it would be nice to test it because it would be actually much needed. So you can see the band is starting to, if we were to project outwards, go like this. If we come all the way down, we can test the band, maybe build a little base down here and then go to the moon. And that would make sense from a time perspective, right? Because look at this. If you look at the previous times, let's go to the weekly chart. So if I put it on the weekly chart, it looks like nothing, right? What I've drawn looks like a normal, healthy correction. Now, when you zoom out, look at this. When I zoom out, you can't even really see it, right? So that's, it's still pretty small. And then, look what happened when we didn't test it. We tested it here. We had a beautiful rally. But if you go too long without testing it, you oftentimes crash. Look at this rally here. We broke above. We never tested it. And that's why it collapsed, because it got too extended away from it. But this is a really good example. You can see all the times back down in here, right, We broke above, we tested it in here. Every wave that went up, we tested it. So here's a wave, we came down, tested it. Here's a wave, we came down to test it. Here's another wave, we came down to test it. Here's another big wave, we came all the way back down to test it. Here's another wave, we came all the way up, we came back down to test it. So you can be literally blind and not know anything about TA. All you had to do back in that bull run was buy the bull market support band. So every time you bought the dip, right, it would be right at that bull market support band. That's why I use it alongside Elliott wave, alongside sequential and other things. And then, the party must end at some point. You could see this red candle didn't come down to test. We got too extended. We ended up breaking below. And that's all she wrote. So now, look at what we have here. We have the price breaking above. We tested it. We broke above. We tested it. We had a correction in here, which is fine. We went beneath it, so that's okay. We broke back up with a vengeance, but look at this. We didn't test it, though. And now we had another monster wave, and we still didn't test it. So if the price came down in that third idea, remember I gave 3 ideas, 1, 2, 3, and the third idea, let me zoom in here. The third idea, not saying that this idea is going to happen, but if it were to happen, don't look at it as a bad thing. Yes, your altcoin, whatever you hold, might go down, and your portfolio might not look so good in the mean term, right? In the meantime, but in the near term, it's much needed, right? Because we get to test the bull market support band. We can have an A, B, C, a proper correction. But that's just the idea. And then also, if I go back to the monthly candle, right here, it would also actually let me go to the 3-month. Okay, so here's the 3-month candle. So what I had drawn down here, maybe it's more, maybe it's less, but you can see, you can't really see it, right, because I expanded it. But here's the ABC, and you can see the C leg basically ends here. So we break out. Here's our engulfing candle, right? We broke above these closes here, which, by the way, this quarterly close is going to be the highest quarterly close in Bitcoin's history. We haven't had a close this high going all the way back to the first quarterly close of January of 2021, right? So January, February, March, that's a quarter. And that quarter, we closed at about 5960K area. So we're at $10,000 high or more, right? So if the following candle, like I said, we can retest 50% of that candle. And I showed you in the short time frame how that would look, right? So here's your next candle right here. Forgive my drawing. It's terrible, but look at this. The wick can be, somewhere in here. We can either wick off of it, but it's all speculation, right? I don't know, but I'm just saying usually that oftentimes can occur. So let's continue. Let's go back to the 4-hour chart. Now, another thing that could potentially happen is that same ABC, but we have one final wave to go. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's go to the 2-hour chart, and we'll focus on this wave here. So we have an A, B, and a C. The question is if that's the case, right? So for example, if this is the count, remember I gave 3 ideas. 2 of them are more bullish, right? As far as time goes, the last one I gave was this one here, A, B, and a C. So let's say that's the case. That doesn't mean the price has to flip down right now. The price can actually make another high and break out of this ascending triangle, make another high, then come back down. Remember, B waves are the trickiest sometimes because they're often the fake outs, right? B waves are classic traps. That's what they're designed to do. They're designed to trap you. So let's say this is a B wave, right? So let's focus on wave B. So let me get rid of that, and we'll zoom in here. So in wave C, right? So here's wave B right here. So in wave B, we have A, B, C. So in wave C, we need 5 waves. So what if we get something like this, where we have wave 1, right? This is wave 3, right? And now we're in wave 5, right? So then you could say, okay, now C is going to come way up here. And then we come all the way down, right? Now that down move, if that were to happen, that if this scenario were to happen, can be like this. Again, with that second idea, you have a rise, crash, retrace. We come down for reaccumulation, we go sideways, we break out. Or it can just be a classic A, B, C. And in the B wave, we have A, B, C. And in the C wave, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So those are the ideas I have for Bitcoin. Tell me in the comment section, what do you guys think? The cool part about it is it kind of sort of looks like maybe we can get another high because of this ascending triangle. It's not confirmed yet, right? A lot of times patterns fail, but let's say this one was not to fail, right? Well, first of all, we would kind of want it to come back down, then break out, right? But let's say it were to succeed, I would take it from here up to here, right? And then we can get a measured move here, and I'll put that measured move right about there. So the measured move would take us to about 74,288. So actually, let me put a line right there. Okay. And then I'll zoom out, and that would basically be an all-time high. But here's the thing. It's still, even though it's an all-time high, it can still be a part of a bigger flat, right? So, for example, instead of this being a flat, A, B, C, and then we go, this could be the flat, which is A, we come up B, we break the top. We come up and we break the top. Yay, all-time high. Let's go to the moon. Let's go to the moon. We're going, because we're breaking out, right? Everybody's excited. But in reality, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a following this B wave. This is just an idea. This is the idea of that third idea, right? And then we come all the way back down, and before going to the moon, right? And let me remind you that this is exactly what happened the last 2 times Bitcoin broke out into a new all-time high. It had this massive flat here, A, B, C. Now, I'm not saying it has to be that big. Again, it can come down here and be a running flat. It can come down here and be a regular flat, or it can even go down here and be an expanded flat, then break out sort of, in the last month or the last week of April, right? Maybe going into May. So if a lot of people are bullish and, for April, sometimes it's usually the opposite, right? So I'm just warning you, be cautious. We're in the retracement levels because here's your rise, right? Here's your crash. Now we're in the retracement. Retracements can be very tricky and very, very devious, right? Retracements are very devious. So we can continue up, making it more exceptional that, more expecting to the fact that we're going to continue higher, when in reality, it could be a bigger flat. The only reason why I'm saying that is because if you look at this first wave, if this was going to be an impulse wave, this wave right here should be 5, but it's not. It's only 3. If you zoom in very close, I'm not going to do that, but it's only 3 waves, right? If this was a 5-wave move with a 3-wave pullback, you could see the pullback is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If this was 5 and this was 3, I would feel more comfortable with that. But to me, it looks very corrective. Now, of course, this, the other ideas can still stand, which is this is the flat A, B, C. We have a 1, 2, right? Or rise, crash, retrace, and now we're in reaccumulation before we break out. So it really, it's a tough call. But here's the part where here's the silver lining. Look at the bigger picture. Remember in the beginning of the video, we have a 3-month quarterly candle. Yes, it's a quarterly candle, doesn't, that's big time frames. We also have a monthly candle, all-time high close, 3-month candle, all-time high close, right? So the bigger picture suggests we're bullish, right? So if this thing were to break out, come down, or simply break out a little bit, come down, or simply come down, it's either way you look at it, it would be an A, B, C. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if it did happen, it would actually be very good for Bitcoin. Why? Because then it can test the bull market support band, number one. Number two, the monthly candle can then retest 50% of that, of the breakout, right? So let me show you here. I go to the 3-month candle one more time. Stay tuned because I'm going to show you something very interesting in the alts. But this is important because whatever happens here will determine the alts. But here's your candle. The next candle can retest 50% of that, right? So, we don't know. We'll have to see. So, now, if I go back, I take that off the screen. If that, last idea were to happen, this is back in 2017. Check this out. This is the same thing. We had an A, B, and a C. So what if right now the current price of Bitcoin is right here, right? What if it's right here? And then we continue to break out above the all-time high. Then we come back down. Then we go. This was a running flat, by the way, right? So here's the other flat. This was back in 2020. This is, again, when we broke above the all-time high. Look at this. We had an A. We had a B. So imagine Bitcoin being right in here. We break above the all-time high. Then we come down in wave C. We flag out. Then we go. So just an idea. So there we go. So now fast forward today, right? And we have maybe the same thing. We have this A. We come up in B. We go up a little bit higher. Maybe not. Maybe we go down now, but we come up a little higher. That's the reason I'm saying that is because I just showed you 2 examples of the last time Bitcoin broke out of an all-time high. It created a flat pattern, right? So we had an A, B, and then we came down for C. Or I'm sorry, the C was a running flat, so something like this. So we flag out. We go up a little higher, we flag out, then we go. So if I had to make my best guess, I can say that would be one of the top contenders, which would kind of be like, a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. And it would also kind of be like the last time we had those flats that played out. Now, originally, the idea was that this was the flat right here, right? So this was the flat A, B, and a C, and then we were to continue breaking out. Now that could still happen. The only reason I'm being cautious and explaining it, because if you look at the time that this took, this is on the 4-hour chart. Now those other 2 charts I showed were on the daily chart. This from here to the end of that flat, that was only 2 weeks, right, of that flat. Now, the previous time, it took about a month. And the previous time before that took more than, I think about 5 or 6 months, right? So that's what I'm saying. The amount of time isn't sufficient enough for this type of correction. So maybe it is, maybe it's not. But look at this. If I go to let's go to the 2-day chart. So that's a drastic increase, right, from the 2-day chart. And I go all the way over here from the time it took from this one. I don't remember where I put it, but this was about a month, basically. But if you go back even further to this flat, look how long this took. So I'll go from the top, the starting red candle, right? I'll just do it from there to the end of the flat. That took about 80 days from start to finish, right? So that took 80 days from the beginning of the flat to the end. Now let me do it the same way here. Now we had several candles at the top. We'll be conservative and we'll pick this one here to the bottom. And that is about 16 days, right? So that is, pretty normal. But if I were to do it from the beginning of this wave here, right, to the end, that would be about 20 days. So you have 80 days, 20 days, right? And now what we have over here, let's go back to where we are now. From the top of this wave to the bottom, that's about 18 days. So I guess you could say from a time perspective, it's kind of short, but it is what it is. And so there's, like I said, there's pros and cons to everything. Now, if I were to choose which one it would be, obviously I would want it to go up. But it wouldn't be so bad if the price did come down in an ABC to retest the bull market support band. If it did this, then the bull run would be longer. Just know that, right? So do you want it now but less? But here's the thing. I'm not interested in Bitcoin. I'm interested in the altcoins. Now, I don't think it really matters for, THETA, XRP, as far as their percentage value, if it comes all the way back down and retest. Obviously, it could have something to do with it. But either way, however you slice it and dice it, I think we're going to continue higher, right? So, we have to wait until this retracement level is finished. But that's basically what I have for you. I don't know a definitive answer. I just want you to know to be cautious, protect yourself, because we are at that point where things can happen, big things, right? So, and the only reason I'm giving caution is because we haven't tested the bull market support. Look how long it's been. I mean, since we broke above it, we broke above right here. We never tested it. And that was back in last November. So that was actually around the time I started doing the YouTube, was October, November. So if I go all the way here, it's about 171 days without touching it, right? So if I go back over here, how long, then if I go here, I'll go to about right there. We'll be conservative. So I said 171 days. So that's about right there. And look at that. That's back in March too. So, and Bitcoin didn't really get any higher than that, right? So if it goes too long without touching it, collapse can happen. So be careful what you wished for. That's why I wanted it to test it here, but it didn't. So we have another opportunity, but now we're much further away from it. The bull market support band is sitting at 51K. So the fair value of Bitcoin is much less than where the current price is, which you can argue it's overvalued at the moment in time, right? But that doesn't mean it can't easily break out and continue going, because we do have technically an A, B, C. We do have a flat, and it was kind of in the same time frame as that last one. We do have a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and now we're getting 4. If we can get 5, it would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like a diagonal, right? We get a 3-way pullback and then continue higher. So if I had to guess, that's what it would be. I would think, depending if this breaks out or not, it would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is a diagonal, and then we get a 3-way pullback, and then we go. And that would kind of sort of be a running flat, which would be an A, B, C, go, right? But not technically, because, running flat would need 5 waves in here, not 3. But either way, it's looking good for Bitcoin. And it only took 35 minutes to explain all that. So, it's Sunday, it's the weekly close. It's a big deal. We got a monthly close. We got a 3-month candle close. We got a daily close. Let's go. Here's the price of Litecoin. I did a Litecoin video. I'm not, technically a Litecoin fan. I think it's done terrible over the last several years. You're just better off being in Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, it's looking like it's getting ready in due time, not right away, but it's looking like it's completing this triangle here. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I would suspect us to get 3, 1, 2, 3, and finish up wave D. Then we get a small 1, 2, 3 to finish up wave E. Then we can break out of this thing. It's a pretty massive correction here. So we'll see about Litecoin. The chart I'm very excited about is XRP. We can see the 3-month candle is going to close above the bull market support band, which it did last month. But what's important too is this 3-month candle. I don't like how it's such a doji looking candle. I wish it was more of a bullish hammer candle, but this candle appears to be going to close above this candle, which is important. So I just wish it was more, I wish it looked more like this candle over here, or even this candle over here. So, we'll see about that. But what's interesting here is, it's subjective how you draw the line, but if you go through the wicks, the important thing about trend line resistance lines is you can go through the wicks, you just can't go through the bodies of the candle. So if you look at the 3-month candle on XRP, you can see, we're going to technically close, I wish it was a little higher, but we're going to technically close above this long-term downward resistance line, right? Which is a big deal. So this candle, this quarterly candle is going to close above. So let's see if we get some follow through with that. So yeah, that'll be something interesting to keep an eye on. And again, it's kind of like Litecoin in a way. Just looks a little better. We have this. It could be A, B, C, a flat. Now we're let's go. It could be A, B, C, D, and now we're in that E wave, and then we go, right? But any way you look at it, we're very close to the apex of this triangle. So it's going to break one way or another. So people say XRP is boring, it doesn't do anything. It's going to make a massive volatile move. Nothing goes. I mean, this is, the biggest base in crypto history, right? Nothing's going to go for that long going sideways and not have a big volatile move. If you look at the VIX, right, the volatility index for the stock market, anytime that thing stables out, it's usually signaling a big move is coming, especially when the Bollinger Bands start to tighten up. When things tighten up, especially at the end of the triangle, especially after a 6-year base, this thing's either going to die or it's going to fly. And my bet is it's going to fly. And the reason why is because Ripple didn't spend $250 million for nothing. I think they're going to settle at some point. Even, maybe they have to pay money. Maybe they got to pay a fine. They probably will, right? Because the SEC is corrupt, right? Basically, they went after Amazon. They went after Google. They went after Tesla. Basically said, look, if you're going to play in my town, you're going to pay, right? It's like the mob, right? If you're going to pay, you got to play, right? So what is the statistical probability of the settlement ending sometime very soon, right? So it makes you wonder. And then you also have Bitcoin at an all-time high. You have the candle above the downward resistance line, right? I made an XRP video. Highly recommend you watch it. Here's the video right here. That's the thumbnail. So it's called XRP equals a power play, new fractal found. So if you haven't watched this video right here, I highly recommend watching it. It'll go over many, many things. And it's only 30 minutes too, so it's not too long. Well, at least by my standards. So anyway, we have, now let's look at XRP on the monthly candle. Look at the monthly candle, looks very interesting. This candle right here is going to close above this candle, and this candle, and this candle. So it'll be the highest monthly close going back all the way last summer in July. So not quite a year, but 8 months. So it'll be the highest monthly candle in 8 months. And the cool part about it is it's above the bull market support band. And yeah, I wish it was a little higher. I wish it got a little bit higher. And I would really love to see a break, a close above this. I mean, the biggest goal XRP has right now is closing above, either on a weekly or monthly scale, above 69 cents. It's not a big ask, right? But that's basically the idea. Now, check this out. I recorded a 2-minute and 40-second video a few hours ago for somebody, but take a listen here. I kind of summarized everything. Hey, what's going on? Hey, I'm following this fractal right here. It's not perfect, but it's interesting nonetheless. I think XRP can get a big breakout. The reason why is it looks like it's at the end of its reaccumulation phase. Exactly what happened over here. You can see a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. Similar to what's happening now. You have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. Do we get the blast off? Another similar way to looking at it is A, B, C, D, E. Same thing here, A, B, C, D, and now we're in that E wave. So zooming in here, you can also say that the E wave, oftentimes the last wave of a contracting triangle, wave E, can be a contracting triangle itself. So you can say this is A, B, C, D, and now we're in that final E wave. And what I like about it is that E wave is finding support on this bull market support band. So maybe something like this, we come up, do something like that, go. And by the way, that 3-wave move would kind of line up with Bitcoin if it were to sort of get stalled out in the retracement, then come down for that wave C. So maybe something like this, we come up, do something like that, go. Something like that. Final E wave. Another way you can look at it is possibly a diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have A, B, C, a flat, and now you have a 1, 2 potentially right on that bull market support band. Remember, XRP did not have a bull run last time. It had a retracement following that into a reaccumulation. But check this out. We came down into reaccumulation. We built a base right here. We went consolidated. We broke above that base, and now we're building a second base on top of this base, just like what Bitcoin did. You can see the Bitcoin fractal right here. We have a base. We went sideways. We broke above the base. We went sideways again on top of that base, and then we broke out again and then continued going. Another likely reason XRP can go is because Bitcoin is at and around the all-time high, and usually it spends some time here before it gets going. But the last time it did that, XRP flew. So back here in 2017, you can see here's the all-time high. We had an A, B, C, a flat. And once we went going, that's when XRP really exploded. And that was also in the month of March, April, May. So we'll see. You can see right here in rare cases, one of the subwaves, usually wave E, is a triangle itself. So we'll see if that, I mean, that's kind of what it's looking to be. So we'll see. But other than that, I mean, on the monthly candle, you don't have a breakout. We're still quite a ways away from that downward resistance line. So it's only that 3-month candle that's looking pretty interesting. But nonetheless, we are getting pretty close to that apex of this triangle. So something's got to give, right? And I believe it will be this year. Now, my quote unquote prediction is this, kind of just playing around with, a comment basically saying wind moon. So if I had to put myself on the spot, well, we had a base down here, right? And then we had a second base here. So my prediction for this base is we're going to break out of this base, right? We're going to break above this either next month or in the month of May. So April or May, I can totally see. Let me actually extend it out to the end of May. We'll put it right there. So that's all the time we have left to break out, or it'll be wrong. So we have to essentially break out of these closes. Not necessarily the wick, but I would like the close is more important. So that's it for XRP. Let me zoom in here and see if we can see anything interesting. Zooming in, let's go to the 2-hour chart. We are still above the bull market support band. We had 1, 2, you could say 3, 4, 5, and this is an A, B, C, and a flat, and now we have a 1, 2, and let's continue higher. You can also say, you can count it, similar to Bitcoin, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I don't really like that because 5 only has 3. But nonetheless, if that was the case, it would be an A, we come up for B, and then we come down for C, then we go. And that would finish up that E wave. Another way you can say is rise, crash, retrace, right? We have to go higher in the retracement, then we come down for reaccumulation. We go sideways, then we go. So something like this here. So that would be sort of the path. So we come up a little bit more, come back down, build this base in here, essentially, before breaking out. So similar to the 3 ideas with Bitcoin. But yeah, other than that, it's very difficult to gauge because we're in the, sort of in that, between, here's point A, point B, and we're in the middle here. So, we do have 1, 2, 3 up. So maybe 1, 2, 3 down, and then another, and then maybe 5 up. That would be nice to see. A, B, C. You have 3 up, 3 down, and then 5 up. So, a lot of different possibilities in the short term, but the long term is looking interesting. So I'll leave it at that. You can also kind of see maybe some type of triangle in here. So I would look for that to break. Yeah, looks pretty interesting. And then we have also a downward resistance line from here to here. And look at that. We're actually pretty close. If I put it down on the body of the candle, looks like we're already poking through here. So let's see. We did poke through a little bit there, but that's why I like to be more conservative. Let's put it back to the wick. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we can get above that line. But other than that, looking at QNT looks corrective. This wave here, kind of like a falling wedge. It looks like it wants to break out, at least for one more wave. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would like to see 5. Then we can get that ABC, get closer to the bull market support band, then go. Something like that. But again, weekends, difficult to gauge. The picture will become more clear as we get through Monday through Wednesday. Same thing with XLM. It actually looks a little more bearish. It looks like it needs a pullback. I mean, it looks like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't really like it, but to me, a flat A, B, C. And but this move here looks very corrective, possibly a diagonal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we need a 3-wave pullback and then continue higher. So QNT kind of looks up, XLM, XRP maybe sideways or down, because it also, you have a ascending channel. Usually these break down and then retest 50% of them, of the channel, and then continue higher. So maybe we get that now through the end of today, and then Monday, once Monday rolls around, Monday, Tuesday, we can start hopefully getting out of here. So we'll see how the chart looks. That'll do it for this video. I appreciate everybody tuning in and hearing what I have to say. What do you guys think? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Let me know. So I will catch you guys on the next one. If you would like, you can drop a comment below. Tell me what coin you would like me to take a look at, and I'll add it to the list. I already got a pretty big list already, so I might have to divide it into 2 parts for the rapid fire series. But yeah, so that'll do it. If you would be so awesome if you can leave a like and drop a comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to support the channel, you can always do so. I have a YouTube tip jar here if you want to support the channel. That is always very appreciative. But until next time, oh, by the way, and if you don't know how to do it while on your phone, you just use your Google Lens right here, and you can screenshot and then scan it. Somebody was asking me, and I, because if I'm watching it on my phone, it's like, how do I scan something that, I'm watching already? You know what I mean? So it was a little challenging, but yeah, just use the Google Lens and you can do that. But have a great rest of your weekend, and happy Easter to those who celebrate it. But yeah, I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.